Hello everyone. A very warm welcome to all of you to this webinar on the latest release of APPSeCONNECT 4.8.0. I am Deboshri and I am the QA lead in InSync. And I have here with me my colleague Kaushik De, who is a senior technical consultant here in InSync. We have some new features and major enhancements in this release of APPSeCONNECT, and we are really excited to share them all with you. The points that we will be covering in this webinar are the introduction to process flow, the major areas in process flow, and the main highlights of those areas. We will also give a demo of all the features. After that, we will be taking the questions from you. So to start off the presentation, Kaushik, the primary highlight of this new release is the new terminology of process flow. Those of us who have been associated with APPSeCONNECT for a long time now are aware of touchpoint and workflow. But what is this process flow that we keep on hearing about? Please give our audience a brief introduction of the same.
Thank you, Devasri. First, I would like to extend a very welcome to all our audience members, and we are really honored to have you all in this webinar. Devasri, before I answer your question, I would like to give our audience a brief introduction of APPSeCONNECT journey. As we know that InSync has been in this business of integration for a very long period of time, for almost 12 years, with more than 1,000 customers all over the world. We have more than 1,000 pre-built connectors available as of now, which can be used as is or can be customized as per your need in a very easy and minimal amount of effort. We start off in 2009 with SOA architecture and on-premises offerings initially. Later, we realized the need for scaling up the data integration. As a result, we introduced touchpoints.
Yes, Kaushik. Can we go to the next slide, please? Yes. So as you said about touchpoint, Kaushik, I think I remember that when we started using touchpoint, initially everything was good, but then we found that there was this limited capability of only field-to-field mapping. Also, as we progressed further, we found that in case of complex process integration scenarios, such as sales cycle, or where other dependencies, such as that of customer, product, inventory, etc., which also must be taken into consideration. In these kind of scenarios, we realized the need for workflows, which was a group of touch points linked together. And hence, workflows were introduced to take care of these scenarios.
Yes, but with increasing complex scenario, we found workflow architecture to be quite tightly coupled and inflexible. Taking all these factors into the consideration, we have introduced process flow in APPSeCONNECT. The highly flexible architecture of process flow has been developed keeping in mind increase the performance improvement, user friendliness, and fast and easy deployment of the integration. So coming back to your question, Devasri, in very simple word, process flow is just a collection of nodes which can be designed as per the business need of an organization. A node is an independent executable unit of process flow which can perform a defined set of jobs. The parameter of the job can be also customized by the user. So in this release, we have introduced many new features of process flow. Devasri, what are the new features of this release that our customer and partner can look forward to?
As we know, the whole of APPSeCONNECT has now been divided into three major areas, which are, so the three major areas which are into which the APPSeCONNECT has now been divided are design, deploy, and manage. So what is design? Design is the area where we can develop a new process flow or modify an existing process flow. Deploy is for deploying the build into an agent of your choice, managing the deployed build as well as all the sync related data. And manage area is for managing all the configurational data related to process flow execution. In the design area, my favorite features are the easy management of process flow, the manage schema section, defining the attribute scope, and the all new variable management section.
Yes, these are all very interesting features. Let's go through them one by one. The new process flow listing section is designed to provide an intuitive and user-friendly experience. You can manage process flow in the folder structure so that you can easily search and organize the developed process flow. You can create a copy of a process flow. It will actually reduce your effort. The mapping which has already been done can be reduced by copying a process flow. It will help you to customize an existing process flow with minimal effort. Your deleted process flow will be stored in trash, which you can restore as per your need.
The Manage Schema section is easily accessible from within the process flow designer. So when you are developing a process flow, if you have to create a new schema or action, then you can easily create that using this section. You have the option to create manually or import the schema along with all the attributes. The newly created schema is created at the global scope. So if you use the same app in another process flow, the schema created earlier will be available within that process flow also. Another feature is the action template. So when you are defining the action within a scope, you will have the option to save it as a template at the global level. A saved action template can be easily reused in other process flows, either in as-is format or by making the modifications as per your need in the action template. Attribute scope. Attribute scope is a very powerful new feature introduced in process flow. While creating the attributes under a schema, you will have the option to define the scope as either global or process flow level. Global scope attributes are available to be used in other process flows also, whereas process flow scope attributes will be limited within that specific process flow only. This will help you in viewing and managing only the required attributes within a process flow.
Variable management is another new feature that has been introduced in the process flow. User can create variables to be used in the process flow. There are two types of variables, mutable and immutable. Mutable type of variables can be used for storing the values, which can be used later in the execution of the process flow. You can store runtime values in the variable so that variable values can be used in another node of the same process flow. You can define the data type of the variable. You can also set a default value for the variable. We have discussed earlier, node is an independent executable unit of process flow. So while developing a process flow, you are actually designing it by using the various nodes available in the designer section and linking them as per your business need. There are many different type of nodes available in your process flow. Let us share few of them with you. Prepackaged app.
Prepackaged app nodes are the application nodes for which the schema, attribute, actions, and adapters have already been developed. They are ready to be used in a process flow. You can use the technology app nodes to create your own customized node for an application for any of the supported protocols such as REST, OLEDB, file, etc. APPSeCONNECT gives you the option to create technology app nodes in a quick, easy way. Mapper node is for mapping the entities and attributes of the source and destination applications to transform the data as per the business logic. Another very important node that you will find in process flow is the splitter node. The splitter node is used to split the documents generated during the process flow execution into smaller units. Similarly, you have the merger node to merge documents. Decision node will allow you to control the execution path based on the data during the execution. And you also have a delay node, which is used for sleeping an execution for a predetermined amount of time.
Few more things I should mention in the designer section, out of which self loop is used. on a node to execute the node multiple times. The self loop triggers individual nodes executed in a quick process. Self loop could be based on the time, on the iteration, number of data available. Another point is link ordering. Link ordering is to define in which order the process flow should be executed in case there are multiple paths of execution.
Besides these nodes and the features that we have discussed till now, there are few other useful features which are worth mentioning. One of them is that in this new release of APPSeCONNECT, we have done the development so that the complete control of all the activities needed for developing a process flow is from within the designer itself. You don't have to navigate to any other section, be it creating a new technology app, adding a new node, editing an existing node, removing an existing node, adding a new schema or attribute, making any change in the action filter for fetching the data. All these are accessible from one point only. Also, after designing, you can deploy as well as monitor the ongoing deployment status from within the designer section itself. You can schedule the process flow to execute in an interval of your choice or make any changes to the saved schedule. You can also execute the process flow in manual mode from the designer section and check the execution status instantly at the time of execution by the feature of tracker window. The tracker window will open automatically during deployment or manual execution and show the logs of deployment or execution. So now coming to the deploy section, Kaushik, which are the features that you really want to talk about?
In the deployment section, the new feature of easy deployment and redeployment is something that I think will be very useful for all the users of APPSeCONNECT. Deploy. You can easily configure the static data and schedule during the deployment of the process flow using the guided wizard. Once deployed, you can manage and monitor everything from the deploy area, as it will provide all the important information at a glance. Once deployed, you can manage and monitor everything from the deploy area, provide all the important information, undeploy. Even after deploying it, if you want to undeploy a process flow for any reason, you can easily undeploy it by selecting it within the environment. And what is redeployment? Any update in the existing process flow, you can easily redeploy into the same environment. Environment management is one of the most important feature I should talk about. One place where you can check the health of the environment, list of the process flow deployed in the selected environment, etc. Retry fail data. This is one of the highly highly featured point that we have developed. You can check the error data and retry the manual or automatically within the same process flow. You do not have to design a new process flow to retry the failed data. You can also check the deployment log and the status of your last deployment.
Few other features that should be mentioned from the deployment area are such as you are able to see all the sync transactional data in the deploy area. You also have the option to view the data which has been fetched from the source application, the data which has been transformed successfully as per your defined business logic, and the data which has been pushed successfully into your destination application. As mentioned earlier, you can also view the failed data separately and retry them. For every execution of a process flow, snapshot is generated. This snapshot will give you all the required information of the sync process, such as what are all the nodes that have been executed successfully, which are the nodes which have failed, total time taken for execution of each node. For both the successful and failed data that are generated during a process flow execution, you will be able to check the log, and you also have the option to easily debug and rectify the issues. Design and deployment are the very important steps of process flow designing. But Kaushik, now after our users have designed, deployed, and executed the process flow, do we have any enhancements in how they can manage the day-to-day sync operation?
We have made many enhancements in this area, such as feature that I would like most, the Lookup Repository. Lookup Repository is a very powerful and flexible feature. We earlier had the similar feature which we all know as value mapping. The Lookup Repository is an enhanced version of the feature, and now it has been made extremely flexible. Repository collection is a collection of reference table of static data. For example, let us say you have an integration of Magento and SAP B1. In Magento, you have a currency code of dollar, whereas in your SAP, it is mentioned as USD. In that case, you can create a required reference table for mapping between the dollar and USD and then just use it during the deployment.
Besides the repository feature, other features available under the manage area are user management and ticket management. As you know, we are GDPR compliant. So that means you get to control, you get to add or remove users and control whom you want to give access to your organization. And that is through a user approval process. And for any issues that you might face in using our portal or our product platform, you can simply raise a ticket and our support team will instantly take care of it.
Now coming to the redistributable feature of process flow. We have two very powerful features which have been introduced in this release. The first feature is package process flow. Now what is package? A package is simply a collection of process flows that fulfill a business cycle. For example, you can bundle full sales cycle in a package where it will sync customer, product, sales order, invoice, shipping status, inventory, etc.
And the second feature is package sharing. Now that you have created a package containing the required process flows, you have the option to share this package with other organizations. This is a feature which I think our partners will look out for because this is going to make their work so much easier. Once you have created a package with the required customization, you can simply share this package with other organizations so that the work done can be reused in another organization. You don't have to work from scratch again. The shared package will be visible in the process flow listing section, and you just have to install and deploy the package in the customer environment and start executing the process flows.
So that was about the highlighted features that we are now available in our latest release of the APPSeCONNECT. Let us now actually get our hand dirty and design, deploy, and execute the process flow to see how it ties together. Okay, so as you can see, this is the first look of the designer of the process flow. Here in this section, you will get to see the list of apps available. Like these are the prepackaged apps. You can easily search like this. It will show you the exact match. After that, you can create your technology app that Devasri mentioned during her presentation. You can use a logic app like this is a splitter, this is a merger. There are many other nodes that you can use. So I already have created one process flow because we have very limited period of time to present. So what I'm going to do is this process flow is actually going to sync a customer from Magento to SAP B1. So I have the SAP with me. Okay. In SAP, this is the area where actually a new customer will be created. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create one customer by the name of Devasri. Okay, this is a front end of the Magento. I'm going to create an account of a user like the EBA is email. Now email ID yokmail.com and the password is a mandatory field, so I have to provide it. Okay, so I'll click on this button, create account. Okay, the customer has been created. Now let me check whether the customer is available in SAP or not. No, the customer is not available. What I'll do, I'll execute this process flow manually. I'll just, and this is an environment area where actually we are going to check the execution status. Okay, so it's up now. Okay, so this is the actual execution piece of APPSeCONNECT, which will process the execution. You have to keep connecting with the portal, then only we'll be able to execute. This is an area where actually you can manage your process flow, like creating, I'll come up after execution of the process flow. Okay, now let me try. Yes. So during the execution, you can see the execution path. You can be able to see also. You can be able to see the status of the execution. So now we can see all the execution path that's showing us green. That means the process was executed successfully. So let's go back to the SAP and let's check. Okay. Though the execution of the process flow was done successfully, but it is not available. The account that we have created is not available in SAP. So let us check why it is not there. We'll go back to the environment. This is the environment. Here you will see all the process flow that deployed in the process flow section, environment section. Now this is the process flow that we have deployed. Let us check the snapshot. Here in this process snapshot section, this area will list all the execution one by one, and you will also have the unique number by which you can identify, also the time and time taken. So let's check why it not synced. Okay. And I can try to check. Okay, 5 was the code. Okay, let me check. What is the ID of this customer? I think it will be logged out. Okay, I have to log in again. Okay, let me go to the customer section. Let's list all the customers. Okay, 5 was faced. So how can we check without going to the Magento? If we go to the transaction file, we'll be easily able to see the which customer was faced. So this was the email ID that just we have created. And after that, we go back to the mapper, I mean the transformation area. If you go to the transformation area, let me copy it first. Yeah, it was transformed properly. Yes, it was transformed properly. Let me copy it. And in SAP, that was an error. Price list. Okay. So the property price list of business partner is invalid. So simply for the time being, what I'll do, I'll go to the mapper section. I'll just disable it. Because I have to check with the schema of the SAP. This will take some time. So what I'll do, I'll simply disable it. So once you have disabled any field, you can easily identify by the color mark you can see. After that, you can preview. That is not available. So I'll close this. So what is the next step? Shall I execute it again? No, simple. We'll just go to the resync retry area, and from there I can resync it. Okay, before that I have to deploy this mapping in the environment. Yeah, I have to deploy it in the mapping in the environment.
What is a redeployment that we had spoken earlier about? If you have any issues, during the after execution, you find that there are some issues in the mapping, or maybe over time your business logic has changed and you want to do the changes in the mapping. After doing the mapping changes, you just have to redeploy it again. And this is the wizard which will guide you through all the steps. So you don't need to remember what you need to do next.
This is the area where actually you're, yeah.
Yes, so you will get the help also how it works along with all the steps to guide you.
So this is an area where you can schedule actually, but for the time being, I have marked it as a manual process. You can schedule the sync process, you can schedule the retry process as well. So I'll finish it. Once you have clicked the finish
What I would
button,
like to add here is that, yes, Kaushik, please go ahead.
once you have clicked on the deploy button, finish button, you will see the step-by-step information you will get in the tracker window. And finally, you will receive one message that the process flow has been deployed successfully. So let's try to retry it.
So the retry section will only show you the failed data. So you don't need to search for the data among the list of all the data. This is a very easy way to see only the data which has failed during execution, and you can retry it.
And also you can search from the failed data. There is a place where you can search. Like 5, if I press, you'll only get to see the 5. Okay, I'll check this. Now I'll try to resync. Timing actually I'm showing you as a manual process. You can also set it up just I shown you. See, now it's got success. So now if I go back to SAP, you'll be able to see that the customer that we have created by the name of Devashree. Yeah, see, these are the fields that we have mapped. So the customer is in the SAP. So this is the basic functionality of process flow that we have shown. Now let us go back to the process flow listing page. This will be very interesting actually. So at the first level, you will be able to see there are 4 folders or 4 sections rather I would say. One is process flow, second is install process flow, third is package library, and fourth is the trash. Now what is process flow? This area actually created where you can save your organize your process flow that you are creating. Suppose if you want to manage your SAP Magento process flow. Now what you will do, simply you will create SAP Magento 2.0 sales cycle. Okay. So it will create a folder. So any point of time, if you are working in a team, it will help you to identify where I'll get to see the list of process flow that will actually execute the sales cycle. Now you are into this folder. Now you can create your own process flow. First, you have to provide the process flow name and the description, like sales order. Now you can just simply drag it. After that, Magento, you'll drag it. Here you have to provide the basic information of Magento configuration, like which process you want to synchronize. So this time we will mention the description as a get order, and the node type is get, version is we are going to use a Magento 2.0, so it is REST API. We'll select the REST protocol, and here you will have the list of schema. Schema means the entity that already there in the Magento, like order. Suppose you are trying to find some entity which is not available here. You just simply have to click here. Here you can add your schema. Like if you click on add, you have to provide the name of the schema, and by that way you can create it. Another option is that you can import it. Suppose if you have WSDL available, I mean for REST it's not required. For 1.x Magento they used to provide WSDL. Just provide the WSDL URL and render. It will list you all the attribute, and after that you can save it. If you save it, it will be listed in this list. Devashi, would you like to add something in this area?
No, just that import schema is a very easy way of creating the schema, because along with the schema creation, all the attributes are also imported during this process. So it makes
Yes.
the work very easy and fast.
Yes. So let's see. Suppose, okay, order product. These are the attributes. These are the list of attributes. Now, if you want to create your own your attribute, you just click here, add attribute. Here you will have the option to provide the name of the attribute, data type of the attribute, any reference, etc., etc. And the most important and most unique thing that of APPSeCONNECT is the scope of the attribute. That is at the process flow level or the organization level. Because in many cases we have seen that the customization for a specific process flow customization is required for a specific process flow. In that case, you have to add a customer as per your customer, your process flow basis. You have to create many attribute that can be repeated for other customer. In that case, if you create it as a process flow level, you will not be confused when you are going to check the attribute for the other customer. And suppose the same attribute like customer name, cart name, this is a common attribute that is required for all the customer. In that case, you can mark it as a organization level. So once you have created this attribute, it will be available throughout your organization.
So I think these kind of scenarios are very, commonly found in case of e-commerce applications, where your customers might have their own custom attribute created. So when you are creating the schema, you add that attribute once. Let's say you are designing the customer sync process flow. So you have created the attribute. But what will you do when you need to use the same attribute in, let's say, order also, or during product also? So in that case, once you create it as an organization scope attribute, it will be available under other process flows also. That makes your work so much easier. Also, we have the option of, giving the attribute as a primary key, or and defining it as the primary key, or this another property of an attribute. Or you can also define it as a required attribute or not. These are all to make the mapping very flexible.
Okay. So next feature is that I'm going to showcase is copy process flow. Suppose I have created one process flow that just we have executed customer sync. The same process flow, I want to create a copy in my newly created folder, that is SAP Magento. So what I'll do, I'll simply go to this folder. I'll click on the copy and then SAP Magento. Now it's copied. So any changes that you're going to do with this process flow, it is not going to hamper your previous process flow. So that will actually help you to customize customer to customer requirements. You can easily meet the requirement of your customer with a very minimal effort, because mostly the whole thing will be created. Just you have to add those attributes which are custom fields for that customer. Devasri?
Yes, when you have done the copy of a process flow, the most important thing is that, it saves you a lot of time. Because even if, let's say, you have already done the mapping, but just in case you want to keep a backup and do some changes in the mapping as per the new business logic that may come in, or if you are just testing it, or even if the case where you have two process flows, one you want to deploy in a test environment and another in a live environment for monitoring, what you can do is that you can simply, first make a copy of the test environment process flow, which is working perfectly fine, copy it and create the new process flow for the live and then execute it. So this is a feature which will help in saving a lot of time when you are developing process flows.
Okay. So now what I'm going to showcase is the deploy section, which is very intuitive, and this is very helpful for you as well. So this will list you the list of environments you have created. Suppose if you have two environment that you have created, the list of environment you will see able to see here, and the status of the environment, whether it is connected or not. Suppose currently I am connected with this environment, so it will show you the health of this system, like process architecture, agent version, agent last restart date, etc., and CPU usage, etc. Now in the next tab, you will be able to see the list of process flow that we already have seen, and also you can set up the basic configuration like retry transaction detail, frequency, log settings, etc. You can set up here. In the manage section,
one thing, just a moment, Kaushik. One thing that I would like to highlight to our members, audience members here is that, as you can see here, we have two sections. One is the on-premise and another is the hosted. So hosted is the hosted agent support that is also provided in APPSeCONNECT. If you have taken the hosted agent license from us, we will be taking care of all the infrastructure facilities that are needed, and you can simply deploy your process flow into our hosted agent and be free from all those tensions. So can we just have a little demo of the hosted section also, Kaushik?
yeah.
So as you can see here, it is showing that you don't have a hosted environment created in your organization. And this message will be available only when you actually have a license for using the hosted environment. So once you have the license, this is how the environment can be created. It's a very simple process. Everything's taken care of our end. You just need to click it and the environment is created.
So your environment is created. And while you are deploying the process flow, you'll be able to see this environment as well, my hosted environment. Let's go back to the deployment section once. Let me deploy the copied process flow. If I click to deploy section, I'll have the option to select whether hosted or on-premise. So last time I choose on-premise, this time I'm going to select the hosted one. So this is what the hosted environment I can see from the list. I can select it. After that, I have to click the next button. So here I'll have the option to select the credential. If I do not have any credential, because for SAP it works in a very restricted environment in a captive network. So for a cloud agent, it will not be able to connect, but you can create the configuration. Like if you have Navision or any other application, you can be able to do that. For Magento, let me show you how to create a credential for this. REST, add credential. Simply you have to provide this information herein. Roughly, I'm not going to validate it, just v1 and the username admin. Okay. Now I'll save it. Credential name cannot be blank. Okay. Image rate 1. Now save. So credential is saved. If I go back to the credential list, I'll be able to see image press list. So when we'll execute the process flow, it will fetch data from this environment actually. And rest part is as same. Devasri, would you like to say anything?
No, simply that when you deploy the process flow in a cloud environment, it is the same as that of the OP agent. You simply go to the environment section and under the hosted environment process flows, the process flow deployment status and the process flow will be displayed. And you can check the execution status under that. Simple as that. It is the same as it is for OP agent.
So the only difference is going to be in OP agent, the infrastructure will be yours, and for the cloud agent, the infrastructure will provide you. Okay, from my side.
One thing, Kaushik, are we forgetting something very important that we wanted to show our audience members today?
The package one?
Yes, please show the package.
Sure.
So the package, as you might remember, we told you when we were discussing the features, is that it is a very new feature that we have introduced in process flow, and it will actually show you how much the work that you do on one process flow can be reused so many times. So as you can see under the package library, there are two sections, my package and shared with me. My packages will show you the list of all the packages that you yourself create within the organization. And as we said earlier, that the packages created can be shared with others. The shared with me section will show you the list of packages that have been shared with you. So now what Kaushik here is doing is that he's actually creating a package, which is again will be guided to you through using a wizard. So you don't need to remember any steps. It's a simple 3-step process. Very easy to create a
And
package.
at any point of time, if you are if you require any help, just click into this button. It will be redirect to you in a documentation section of the AppSeConnect. So by going through this documentation, you will be easily able to execute your desired activity. So for process flow, what I'm going to I have created SAP Magento sales cycle. So this folder I'm going to create as package. So these are two process flow that are inside this folder. Now I have selected this folder. Now I'll click on the continue. Here I have to provide the name of the package. Say Magento SAP sales cycle. Now I have to provide the full description of the package so that later on we can identify what is the purpose of this package. Saying sales cycle. Here you'll have the option to document actually, so that you can redistribute to your partner or your customer and they can read it and they can use it. Like uh, for example, I'm going to do this like this way, like uh, customer 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 saying now product saying. So if I review it, it will show you like this way. This is basically the Markdown editor that we have used. You can create a document using the Markdown. Now we can mention the version you want. Now I'll go to the next slide. Sorry, version is invalid. Okay, 1.0, 1.0.1. Now continue. So this is a preview that actually showing me the package going to be created. Now if I click onto the create button, it will create this package. So this is the package that just we have created. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to share it with the other organization. Continue. Devasri, can you tell me any organization name where I can share?
Yes, please share it with my organization, with the test organization.
This one?
Yes, this one.
Okay, so here you will be able to see the name of the organization, owner of the organization, and so and so. So it will be very easy for you
One
to.
more thing I think we should mention here, Kaushik, to our audience members is that sharing is actually a privileged function, so it will be restricted to whom you can share it with. This option is present, but with whom the package can be shared is not available to all. It is a restricted privilege which will be given to the corresponding roles only. So there is a security layer present here. It just cannot be shared with anyone.
So you mean to say all level of user cannot share it, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So I'll click here, share. Okay, so I'll go to the organization.
So Kaushik is able to view the test organization because he has admin right as of now, but as a customer or as a user, everyone will not be able to see this.
Yes, yes. So in the process flow section,
So the listing of process flows.
a shared process flow. Here is a process flow that I have shared.
So as you can see, there are many other process packages which have been shared with me as we are doing the testing now.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to install it. Before install, if I want to view the detail of the process flow, that we can see the documentation and the list of process flow. All these things we'll be able to see before installation, and if we are happy to install, in that case we'll just click here, install, it will install. So after installation, you'll find your process flow here in this installed process flow section. So you can also view it. You can add your
I think you have two Magento versions available.
Yeah, yeah. No, one is enterprise, another is community. So whatever customization you want, you can do, and after that you can execute. So this is how it works.
Okay, so now as we have seen all the features, we can see that process flow is a very flexible and robust way to design and manage your integrations. So we also have many new features in the pipeline, which we will roll out in a phased manner. If any of you have any questions now, please don't hesitate. We are ready to take them. Any queries or any suggestions are welcome. Yes, as Anmol has already replied, this webinar recap video will be available and you can see it later. Besides, even if you want to refer to any of the section, you can always go back to our documentation, and help, as we have mentioned, will be available at every step of the way, at every point of integration that you will be developing using our platform. Please let us know any questions that you might have or anything that you want to know about our roadmap, any feature that you would like us to include in our product. Any more questions?
I think there are a lot of questions coming up, and we can answer them over email, I guess, right?
Okay,
Yeah,
sure.
that we can do.
Yes, actually, a lot of questions are coming up, and we are running short of time. So, yeah.
Yes, sure. So thank you. Thank you very much for joining this webinar. Please let us know your questions. We will answer all of them through email. And hope you all are doing good in this difficult time. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.